All right then, let's wrap this up. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire, here to wrap up our look at the first edition Pathfinder Cleric. Today, we are going to be going over just a quick breakdown of what this build is going to be able to do for you, and then also, we're going to discuss the overall strategy and tactics that you're going to be employing with this particular build and what we have plotted out so far. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself alongside such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now, let's start talking about the Cleric class as well as the overall strategy and tactics. So this is another class that is just so incredibly flexible with what you want to do. The domains that you can select allow you so many different combinations of powers as well as bonus spells. And you could be coming into this with a whole animal companion, practically another character sheet ready to go, and that's incredible utility right there, just in and of itself. Put in there that you have some variant channeling as depending on the domains that you've selected, and you can really start to customize this and get down into all kinds of different things, especially since every single spell that is in your cleric spell list you know and have access to. You know and have access to all of these different spells. So if you just want to focus on buffing, you can just buff. If you just want to do general spell casting, you can do that. If you want to make your opponent's lives an absolute hellish landscape, you can absolutely do that in conjunction with your domain powers. You have so many different ways of going about this. So definitely do not look at this guide as something set in stone. Look at this, learn from it, learn how this class functions, how it can function, and then play with it, because you don't have to select, say, 2 uber powerful domains. You may not even be able to necessarily, depending on the deity that you're looking at. Maybe you have to take a great option and an okay option, or even like something that is mechanically, mathematically just bad, but the two combined together might still yield some unexpected results depending on how you want to play around, mix and match, and combine things. And to that end, we might consider doing just 1, maybe 2 more videos, just taking a brief look at some different ways to build and lean into the cleric class, just so you can see the incredible array of diversity that's possible with it. But we'll see what the future brings. But let's actually start getting into the breakdown here. So for this, we are assuming that you've just built a human cleric channeling positive energy, and going with this build, you would have 13 strength, 14 constitution, and 20 wisdom by the time you hit level 5. We start off at 17, we put our +2 bonus for being human into wisdom, and then by level 4, we're going to dump our stat point into wisdom, so we're at 20 there. So we're looking at a pretty decent spell save DC, and also getting a decent number of bonus spells going for us. Our armor class is going to be sitting at an 18, 10, +6 from chainmail, +1 from your dexterity score, and +1 from a buckler, something that I hadn't covered in the equipment guide. A buckler can be a great way to get more armor class, as well as enhancement bonuses to your armor class, as well as starting layering in other defenses, like say the fortification defense, medium fortification, to help reduce critical hits and precision damage dice, such as from sneak attacks, down to just regular hits. That can do a whole hell of a lot to save you, and if it saves you, being a full spellcasting class, it's probably going to be something that also saves your party. However, you still have other ways of enhancing your armor class. If you layer on Shield of Faith, you're going to go up to an armor class of 20, getting an extra +2 deflection bonus for 5 minutes per level. Now, Shield of Faith may fall out of favor for you if you pick up a Ring of Protection. If you get even a Ring of Protection +2, well, this kind of makes Shield of Faith not all that useful for you. But then you also have spells like Iron Skin, which can put your armor class up to a 22, since we're looking at 10, plus 6, plus 1, plus 1, and then a plus 4 natural armor bonus that will last for 5 minutes overall. Since you're level 5, it lasts for 1 minute per level. Either Shield of Faith or Iron Skin will last you 5 minutes by the time you are level 5. And that's not nothing. That's a pretty decent amount of time to have this. Now, for this build, we went with the Greatsword. You're looking at an attack bonus of plus 4 normally, with a damage of 2d6 plus 1, critting on a 19 to 20 times 2 if you manage to confirm the crit. Now, if you layer on the Fate's Favored buff, which you should because we picked up the trait that increases luck bonuses by 1, you're looking at an attack bonus of plus 7 and a damage of 2d6 plus 4, critting on 19 to 20 times 2 for 1 minute. That's also pretty dang good, honestly. That's not too bad, considering that, say we're comparing to a fighter, also level 5. They're going to have a plus 5 attack bonus, presumably at least an 18 to strength, so plus 5 plus 4, so plus 9, and then if they're at an 18 and they're, let's just for argument's sake, say they're using a greatsword, 2d6 plus 4, so strength and a half, so they're looking at plus 6 there. You're actually not doing too bad keeping up in damage with them. They're still outpacing you, but you're not doing bad at all. You're reasonably comparable and competent with Fate's Favored layered on. However, that's probably something that you're going to want to save for a pretty serious fight, considering it's only going to last you for 1 minute. Now, by the time you hit level 7, we are unlocking the ability to wear heavy armor, so our armor class goes up to 21. We got 10 plus 9 from plate mail, plus 1 from dex, and plus 1 from having a buckler. We're not throwing in any other factors here for this. Now, if you throw Blessing of Fervor on for yourself and add in the bonus to your defense and to your attack bonus, your armor class is going to be at a 23, since we got that 10 plus 9 plus 1, and we're getting a plus 2 dodge bonus for 1 minute. Now, bear in mind that you could throw in Iron Skin onto this, since a natural armor bonus will stack with the dodge bonus, and you'd be looking at an armor class of 27, making you pretty damn tanky and pretty hard to hit and take down at this point. Now, with your Greatsword, you'd be looking at an attack bonus of plus 8 altogether if you have, say, Bull's Strength layered on, because you'll note at the top, we've got that 13 and then a 17 next to Strength. This is assuming we don't have any items providing an enhancement bonus, or if we do, it's not exceeding what Bull's Strength is able to provide for us. So, having that layered on, you're looking at plus 8 to attack, and your damage is going to be 2d6 plus 4, because you're getting strength and a half. However, a plus 3 bonus, 1/2 of that is 1.5, you don't round up, so you're only getting a plus 4, but you're not sitting too bad here overall. And you're dealing 19 to 20, or getting crits on a 19 to 20 for double damage. With Blessing of Fervor on, you're up to a plus 10 attack bonus, so you're probably going to be very accurate with your hits overall. But we have another layer of buff to put on with this. We have Divine Power, which is going to give you an extra attack, as well as add a plus 3 to your attack bonus, and that's a luck bonus that's going on, so you're getting a plus 13 with a damage of 2d6 plus 7 for 1 round per level, so that is going to be pretty fantastic. That damage is going to average out to about 14 per hit, so if both of those hit, you're looking at 28 points of damage, and at level 7, dishing out 28 points of damage is not nothing. That's going to be pretty significant, especially if you're hitting a lightly armored target, say something like a rogue, or equivalent to a rogue. That's going to get through and deal a fair bit of damage. However, it only lasts for 1 round per level, so this isn't something you're going to be throwing on for every single fight that you might be going through in one session, or 1 day's worth of encounters. This is something you're going to save for either emergency situations or that you throw on just before a pivotal fight starts. But it's well worth it. Now, just bear in mind that with this build, Melee is rarely going to be your first priority. Casting is, because we are a full spellcasting class. That's what we're leaning into. However, save your round per caster level buff spells for just before a fight, as we had just discussed. Your minute per caster level spells can go through a few fights though. Cast these before a fight to save your actions, regardless of if it's the minutes or rounds per level. Cast them before the fight's about to begin to save your actions in your action economy, so that you can focus more on battlefield control or summoning, which are going to be your safe go-tos for some of your first spells. Identify and lock down enemy casters. That can definitely count as battlefield control and affecting the enemy's action economy as well. Sand Whirlwind and Mind Maze can be good ways of doing this, which are going to be your third level spells. Also, the Barbed Chain spells, which is a first level spell. While it's not necessarily going to prevent an enemy spellcaster from casting, it's still going to be a way for you to threaten them, potentially trip them and knock them prone, and force them to potentially have to get up and maybe even trigger attacks of opportunity. So, these are going to be some of the first things you want to do. Battlefield control or summoning, it's really just going to kind of depend on what the situation looks like, and also keep in mind that depending on how you position your summoned creatures, that can also be battlefield control. If you're blocking up choke points with them and preventing your opponents from just running through, or at least from just blitzing through quite so easily, that is battlefield control. And if you've got them choked up, say in a narrow hallway, well, sounds like the perfect target for the party wizard to throw a lightning bolt at. And also, just remember that everyone hates getting hit with Bestow Curse. Taking a -6 penalty to a stat can be incredibly devastating. Absolutely well worth it. However, be ready to protect wizards and other squishier characters that are on the back line. You're going to be a serious threat to ambush predators, rogues, babaus, other light creatures that focus on ambush and stealth. They're usually doing that because they're not tanky or burly targets. And if they are, well, all the more that you need to be back there helping out the squishies. And you're probably going to be getting a flanking bonus on top of all of this if you position yourself right. And speaking of positioning, remember to place summoned creatures in flanking positions to support frontline and ambushers to increase attack bonuses all the way around and trigger precision damage dice, because bear in mind that flanking bonus is a +2 bonus to the fighter, to the summoned creature, to the rogue, to the vigilante. So if you can position everything properly, you can give a significant number of allies a +2 bonus, and if they're triggering their precision damage dice, so much the better. You're going to blend your way through so many targets so much faster. Also, just as a last bit of advice, have the stats for summoned creatures on note cards. The less your DM has to look up, the less they will despise you. The less that they have to stress about tracking things, so much the better. And just any 3x5 note card, or if you have a notebook and you just jot down on the pages, just generally the stats, their armor class, their hit points, their attack bonus, the damage they do, and any relevant spell-like abilities. Because chances are you're not too worried about making use of their skills most of the time. You're going to be looking at their spell-like abilities and, movement as well. How fast they move, hit points, armor class, attack bonus, and damage. Those are going to be the kind of things you want to track. You don't need to have every single last thing necessarily. Just make sure it's the combat relevant stuff, and for non-combat situations, whatever you happen to summon, if it's for a utility, for whatever that utility might be, then, it's less worry in that situation. But definitely have all of that ready to go, just so your DM's not having to crack open another book to look up this information. They've got enough to keep track of, trust me. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? What would you add or possibly recommend to players looking at the Cleric class, especially if they are going with this build? Or, honestly, even if they're not. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below so that all of us can engage in discussion together. And remember, if you've made it this far, you must have enjoyed something, so why not go down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time. Good gaming to you all, and you all have yourselves a good night.